Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we will be doing a video on my top 20 favorite movies from every decade. This is part 1, and this will be my top 20 from 1910s to 1960s. If you guys are more interested in this content, let me know. Like, if the video allows, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. I just want to see if you guys like this stuff, and I'll definitely make a part 2 for this because I like to talk about movies, and I hope you guys enjoy this content. And if you are want to know more about the movies I like to watch and keep track of what I'm watching, you can follow me on Letterboxd. I am Harry C9. I'd like to do a short disclaimer before we get started because I have only seen probably 150, 160 movies, or at least that I've logged on Letterboxd, and that's where my movies are. So, I do not have a full top 20 for any of these. Actually, the most I have is 1950s, which is like 6 movies. So this one will be shorter, but the one from 1970s to 2020s will be much more interesting and fruitful. So make sure you stick around for that one, which will be much, much more interesting probably. But this one will still be good, I hope. Okay, so we start in the 1910s with, and I have only seen one movie in the 1910s, and that is the not so classic 1917 Poor Little Rich Girl, directed by Maurice Tournier. The reason I really have no reason for watching this movie except for I found this list I wanted to watch through some movies called Teenage Wasteland, and I decided to go from oldest to newest, and this was the very oldest one, 1917. Definitely the oldest movie I've watched. I gave it 2.5 stars. I did not really enjoy it that much. Silent films I don't hate, but like this one was boring and obviously not high quality. So I had no real reason to like this movie. I wouldn't really recommend it, but it's just an old movie that's pretty mid. Okay, believe it or not, we have finished the 1910s, and now we move on to the 1920s, where we start with where both of the movies are Buster Keaton's, and we start with Sherlock Jr. Um, this was uh, I was trying. I know I'm always trying to complete these lists, and I do like 2 films for them. But I was looking at trying to do the Letterbox top 250, and I did the thing where I did the oldest first. And Sherlock Jr. with Buster Keaton is in that list. It is now number 100, so it's very highly rated, average of 4.4. I gave it 4 stars. Um, this is not my favorite Buster Keaton. I have one more that I've seen, and I prefer the other one better, which we'll get to in a second. But Sherlock Jr. was very interesting because Buster Keaton had no stunt double or anything, so he was just doing these crazy stunts, and it was truly amazing to see. He was just like, I said, wow, and like, how did he do that so many times? And I think that's why this movie is so highly rated because of the crazy stuff that Buster does in this. Like, yeah. My review was this was honestly shocking. Some of the things Buster Keaton did this film. There were many times I was left speechless by how much cooler this guy is than the rest of humanity. I mean, yeah, it was great. He was amazing in this film, and I would definitely recommend it if you like to see like super interesting stuff. And that's number 2 for the 1920s, and this is number 1. Okay, my number 1 out of 2 favorite movies from the 1920s is another Buster Keaton, and this one is The Cameraman. It is 1928. It's directed by Edward Sedgwick and Buster Keaton, and I gave it 4 stars. It's just a little bit better than Sherlock Jr. in my opinion. I honestly found it pretty funny, believe it or not. I never thought I would be able to find a silent film very funny, but like there are a lot of times when I kind of like giggle a little bit to this. I watched it with my brother, and while we were on vacation, I had asked my uncle to recommend me some movies, and on that TV we only had YouTube to watch, and there's only old movies on YouTube, so I decided to try this one, and I was not disappointed. I mean, it's I mean, there's obviously better movies today, but like, yeah, I gave it 4 stars, and I thought it was pretty good. The Buster Keaton did some more amazing stuff. The fight scenes weren't terrible, like in the war in Chinatown. Yeah, Me and my brother were laughing a lot to it. The monkey part was great. I mean, yeah, I would definitely recommend this if you're just getting into silent films and you want to see more. Okay, so that concludes our 1920s. So we now move to the 1930s, where I also have two movies. And our first one comes from 1939. It is an absolute classic. I'm sure you guys have heard of it, The Wizard of Oz. Yeah, 1939, directed by Victor Fleming. And this is super popular, obvious for obvious reasons. But I never got super into it. I only gave it 3 stars. It's been a while since I watched it. I'll have to do a rewatch soon. Because it's so popular and I just haven't seen it in a while, but I only gave it 3 stars. Um, it's just a little kooky, and I've never been into that kind of content to me. But it's yeah, super highly rated and obviously an absolute classic that everybody should watch. Okay, so now for my number one of the 1930s, it is the 1938 version of Marie Antoinette. So I don't have a great reason why I watched this. I've always been like kind of into the royalty stuff. So and I wanted to watch something on Canopy, so I decided to try this W.S. Van Dyke classic starring Norma Shearer and Tyrone Power. I gave this 4 stars. I mean, it wasn't anything great besides just like the costume design was really good. And if you're into that stuff, I would definitely recommend it. But there's nothing too great here. I've only watched obviously two movies from the 1930s, so I don't have a lot here, but this is what I have at number one. Okay, so it is now time for the 1940s, which is my first decade with more than 2 films. By that I mean it has 3 films. And coming in third place, which I gave 2.5 stars, was Meet Me in St. Louis, the 1944 film, directed by Vincente Minnelli. And honestly, I probably watched this when I was like 10, so like I probably should give it a rewatch. I only gave it 2.5. I have it as my least favorite from the 40s, but like, yeah, I don't remember it a lot. I'm not into like I don't even know what this movie's about. Honestly, it's super unfair. I gotta give this another rewatch. I don't have really much to say about it. Okay, so my number two favorite film from the 1940s is an all-time classic of my family. It is the 1942, directed by Mark Sandrich, Holiday Inn. So this is just a Christmas movie, so it's not like any like it's not. It's I mean I don't know, but it's a Christmas movie, obviously. But it yeah, it could be other things, but so the premise of it is just they open this hotel for like different um these different holidays, and it's only open for holidays, and like my family just loves this movie so much. Like my mom growing up, she would watch this every Christmas, and they talk about it all the time. It's her favorite movie, but I only gave it 3.5. I thought it was just okay. Old movies are tough for me, and like this is just not like super fun or funny. It's um, just like kind of a lot of singing, and but it's still good because it's a classic. And then there's also a weird scene with the black face. If you know, you know. Okay, so now for my number one favorite from the 1940s, it is the absolute Christmas classic, It's a Wonderful Life, directed by Frank Capra, 1946, right after the war. But this is just an absolute classic. I gave it 4 stars, but like, this is everybody's favorite Christmas movie, really. Like, the 37th most popular film on Letterboxd, millions of people have watched it, 4.4 average rating. That tells you all you need to know. It's really good, it puts everything into perspective so well, and it's really a good movie that if you haven't watched it, you need to for sure watch around the holidays. Just shows you how wonderful of a life we really have. Okay, so now for my favorite of the 1950s, I have 6 in this one, so this is by far the most fruitful generation so far. And we have, in last place, we have a bit of a hot take here. It has an average rating of 4.4 stars in here, the 109th best of all time. I have Singing in the Rain. I gave this 2 stars. At the time, I thought this to be. It's been probably a couple years now, but at the time of watching this, I found it to be quite dull and boring, um, which is the opposite of what most people think. But I don't really like musicals that much, or at least not old ones, I guess. And like this was just, remember thinking at the time this was terrible. So yeah, I only gave it 2.5. Like I just never really liked this. I don't have much to say about it. It's been a couple of years, but like I found it to be quite dull, and it's one of my least favorite films on this app. Okay, so coming in at number 5 out of 6, in my 1950s list, we have Donald in Math of Magic Land. This movie was terrible. I gave it 2.5 stars. I watched it last year in math class, Algebra 1. I mean, almost fell asleep. Honestly, this is worse than Singing in the Rain. I should change this list. But, like, this is not a good movie. It's just about Venn diagrams and math, and I don't like math. Has an average rating of 3.8, which is diabolical. Um, and I wouldn't recommend this movie to anybody unless you're a substitute teacher filling in for a math teacher that is currently going through a divorce or breakup of any kind. Okay, so my fourth favorite movie of the 1950s, we have a little bit of a stretch gonna start here about Disney movies because like my family decided to watch some like animated Disney movies that were on like a list. I hated it. I don't like animated Disney movies. But so we have the 1950 Cinderella. I gave it 2.5 stars. And if you watch this movie, it's really weird. Actually, a lot of it is not about Cinderella. It's about the freaking mice that are like live in her house, and like that's just like, why would you call it Cinderella? Just call it Mouse. But like, yeah, I didn't. I was 11. I was probably trying to be cool and like give this a 2.5 stars because I hated um princesses or whatever. But like, I'm sure it's fine. It's just I just remember being like, why is there so much about mice here? But I probably should give this a rewatch. It's a pretty classic movie, and but I'm not like dying or anything to get a rewatch into Cinderella 1950. Okay, so now in my bronze medal for my favorites of the 1950s, we have the 1959 Clyde Geronimi directed Sleeping Beauty. This is we finally gone up to a 3-star film in the 1950s. Very down year for me, down decade for me. Um, this is another one in that little animation stretch my family had, and I don't really remember this too much, but I remember it being better than Cinderella, probably because I thought she was cuter. Um, but I don't have a ton to say about this one. I just remember there being like a lot with like a castle and it was storming a lot, and I don't know if I could really get into it because I don't remember it that much. But I gotta give all these animated ones another rewatch, give them another chance. But found it somewhat enjoyable. I gave it 3 stars, and yeah, 1.1, 3.6 average. I mean, yeah, it's not my favorite movie, but it's not my least favorite. Okay, so now getting the silver medal in my top favorites from the 1950s, we have the 1955 movie Lady and the Tramp. I gave this one 4 stars. Uh, I would I This was another animated one my family got into, and I remember it having a cute storyline, and also I liked it was about dogs. That's all about I remember of it. That's quite the theme with these last couple movies, as you can tell. Um, and I thought it was pretty good, I guess. I gotta give all these another rewatch, but 4 stars. I don't have a lot to add to this. It's not rated super highly, but I thought I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was pretty decent, and yeah, it was cute. I remember, and it's what we should all aspire to be like. Okay, so now for the number one spot, and definitely my favorite movie of this decade. Truly the best one for sure that I've watched is the Alfred Hitchcock Rear Window. Um, this one is really, really good. Um, it's the 94th best on Letterbox, average rating of 4.4. Tells it all. I give it 4.5. I thought it was a really, really, really good movie. I love murder mysteries. I'm really into that stuff, and it was pretty well done. I thought it was super interesting, kept you hooked. It did annoy me, however, how Grace Kelly, Lisa Fremont, whatever you want to call her, was just all over my boy L.B. Jeffries, and he did not care at all. He was more focused on what was going on the window. I would have definitely taken things in a different direction if that was me. Hey, but that's just me. It's a great movie though, and one I will definitely be rewatching at some points. Okay, so time for the sixth and final decade of this video, the 1960s. Um, the 60s for me is a huge step up in quality. I only have four films from this decade, but they're much better than the 50s in my opinion. And coming in at number four out of four is How the Grinch Stole Christmas, directed by Chuck Jones, the old one obviously. I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was actually pretty decent. Um, Great message, obviously. Great uh, story, classic. It's honestly really good. 3.5, 4 stars is what I would give this. I have it as 3.5 on here, but it's debatable. Probably a 3.75 for me. It's really good. A cozy movie that you should definitely watch if you're into coziness around the holidays. Okay, taking the third spot for the 60s for me is another Christmas movie, the 1965 directed by Bill Melendez, A Charlie Brown Christmas. I gave this one 3.5 stars as well. What I gave The Grinch, and this one was we watch this probably almost every year with my family, like on Christmas Day, and then it's another one with a great message, super cozy, super loving and heartfelt, and it's really really good. Um, Makes you happy. Wants to sing and dance. 3.5. I just bumped it up to 4. This one's it's really good. You should always watch it with especially with your family around the holidays. Makes you feel good. Okay, so coming into this video, I had this as my second favorite from the 1960s. I actually just moved it down to my fourth. After talking about those last two Christmas ones, I have The Parent Trap, 1961 version, obviously. I don't really remember this one. I don't know. I had it rated at 3.5, and I kept it there. But like this, I don't remember thinking it was all great or anything. I don't really have anything to talk about. I've seen the newer Parent Trap much more recently, and I just remember them going to a camp and stuff. I really don't remember this that much, and that's why I moved it down to fourth. I don't know why I had it here at second. Okay, so my number one movie here for the 1960s is an absolute great movie that everybody should see. It is the 1965 Robert Weiss directed Sound of Music. I gave this movie 4.5 stars. I found it to be really, really good, and I think it's one that everybody should watch. Um, I love movies that take place in World War II. I think they're really interesting, and this one is no different. It is kind of long. It's almost 3 hours, and it's just super good. But like we used to make Christmas cookies to this movie, and it just makes me happy. This movie, and I will always be down to watch it again, and you should too. Okay, guys, so that wraps up the video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and let me know. Be making a part two, which will be much longer, because I think all besides like two of those next decades have 20 films, so we'll be going through it all. And yeah, I really enjoyed making this, and I hope you guys liked it. If you want to keep track of what I'm watching, go on Letterboxd and follow me at HarryC9. I love showing what movies I've been watching there, and I hope you guys will come follow me. And I'll see you guys in part two. Thank you for watching.